So we've answered, where is Allah? There's another question that came up, is the story about the slave girl who was asked by the Prophet ﷺ, where is Allah? And she pointed to the heavens. And he said, who am I? And he said, you're the Prophet of Allah. And based on that, he said, you're a believer. And he gave instructions about her. So some people, they try to effect by that Allah is in the heavens, meaning He is located above in the heavens. Number one, Imam Nawawi explains this hadith in his Sharh of Sahih Muslim. He makes it very clear. He says that this hadith has been explained in one of two ways. One is that this is like the Salaf said, leave it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is one of those ambiguous mutashabihat, we leave it to Allah, end of story. By obviously also turning it away from any kind of likeness to the human being. We free and purify that, meaning we consider Allah to be transcendent above that, and we leave it to Allah. The second possible meaning is that the Prophet ﷺ was just testing her to see whether she really was a believer. Now, we make dua, we look up to the heavens, we face towards the Qibla. These have just been considered the Qibla and a unifying factor. Because we can't really know where Allah is, the heaven is just one place where there's a unifying factor where we can think, because rain comes from there, provisions are sent down. That's why it's just the throne is there, the arsh is there. So that's why we look up and we do these things. So it wasn't to actually prove that Allah is there. This was just a test to see if she really was a believer or not. What supports this is a number of things. Number one, this hadith is muttarib. It's very problematic. There's other versions of this hadith which are sahih as well, which don't have this, that where is Allah in the heavens. He asked other questions phrased differently that didn't say. There's more than 3 versions. So number one, this is problematic, and to take one of those and to establish an aqeedah which you shove down everybody's throat is really problematic. Number two, when you compare that to all the other verses, when you put that side by side with other verses in other hadith, for example, another hadith of the Prophet ﷺ says, أَقْرَبُ مَا يَكُونَ الْعَبْدُ إِلَى اللَّهِ فِي السُّجُودِ, that the closest a person is to Allah is when he's in prostration. So how does that work with Allah being in the heavens and person being in sajda, and that's the closest? So the thing is that we have to take all of these hadiths together, take away any meaning that is not befitting of Allah, and either leave it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or according to the Khalaf to give a suitable interpretation. And in here, the majority of the ulama agree that this was just a test, and it was not to try to establish the location of Allah. This is a test of a poor slave girl. ثُمَّ اسْتَوَى إِلَى السَّمَاءِ. That's another verse in the Quran. I mean, people have translated in different ways. Then he focused on the heavens. He turned his attention to the heavens. And again, we leave it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we say this in a way that it doesn't have any likeness to the human being.